I think it's important to grab the nettle and to deal with issues as and when they arise. And the issue of the assisted dying bill and its success in getting through the first hurdle in the House of Commons is something that shouldn't stop us discussing the implications of this. And Melanie Phillips has written a very interesting piece criticising Kim Ledbetter's assisted dying bill, and it embodies a very fiery moral indictment, positing that legalised assisted suicide amounts to Britain's moral suicide. That is her case. Her rhetoric, while incisive, reveals deep philosophical divisions on the issue, which was captured vividly during Friday's Commons debate. And central to this was an exchange where the Labour MP Kat Eccles stood up with an objection to the term suicide being used in the debate. She branded it offensive, and Danny Kruger, who was speaking at the time, responded by saying that we have to use proper language. And I thought that was a very interesting exchange. The point of order, which he paused for, and then the response, where he very politely pointed out, well, you can't just play around with language to avoid the moral weight of what is being proposed. Melanie Phillips views this linguistic conflict as symptomatic of the broader manipulation of the public discourse. And terms like assisted dying, she argues, camouflage the stark reality of state-sanctioned killing. In that, of course, she would be almost paraphrasing what Diane Abbott said. By her measure, this euphemistic rebranding serves to soften public resistance, as evidenced by organisations like Dignity in Dying, which used to be called the Voluntary Euthanasia Society, I think. Yet Kruger's counter, this reminder that the bill amends the Suicide Act 1961, strikes at the semantic heart of the issue. The debate hinges not just on words, but on the moral framework that they encode. Phillips' larger argument, therefore, is chillingly clear. Safeguards are some sort of mirage. She draws on Canada's so-called mission creep in euthanasia laws, where eligibility broadened rapidly, suggesting the UK would inevitably follow suit. In such a system, Phillips warns vulnerable individuals burdened by guilt, the pressures of society, the fear that their palliative care or their care in a home is costing their family too much, or inadequate care. They may feel coerced into ending their lives, however voluntarily they sign the paperwork, however voluntary it appears. The debate also highlights the institutional cracks, and Kruger and Phillips underscore the NHS's precarious state, as does Wes Streeting, warning that a cash-strapped system may have a perverse incentive to assist patients' deaths rather than invest in robust palliative care. This dovetails with Phillips' ominous two birds, one stone analogy, a swipe at the idea that the NHS might pragmatically welcome fewer patients. In the middle of this moral polemic, proponents like Eccles and Ledbetter maintain that the bill offers compassion and choice, framing it as a means to alleviate suffering, much like you would to a much-loved cat or dog. Yet critics argue this framework risks prioritising autonomy for the few at the expense of social safeguards for the many, a Rubicon Phillips insists cannot be uncrossed. I think this is a very serious debate. And Britain's National Death Service, as she puts it, encapsulates her fear. When killing is rebranded as dying, society loses its moral moorings. I think there's a second issue which has been almost elided over, which is important and which we can change now, which is the families of people who want to travel to Dignitas should be allowed to travel with them. If we're having this debate, then we've surely got over that moral scruple. And the police certainly should not be harassing family members of individuals who are committed to this. All we need is a piece of paper. That piece of paper should be sufficient. That is something that can come out of this debate. But I think to move the debate further into the law as it currently stands, into Kim Ledbetter's law, which is very poorly drafted, as Kruger has pointed out, this is disturbing. And whether one agrees or not with Melanie Phillips' concerns, her criticism warns of the high stakes in this contentious legal and cultural shift that is ongoing. And it's ongoing. Today it's about assisted death. Tomorrow it may be about something else. But the kernel of this is the twisting of language in order to avoid responsibility. And that is perhaps more worrying than, let's say, the concerns of the various churches and faith groups who object in principle to euthanasia.